yeah, let's go. It's the last day of the year, and I'm sure you guys have hopefully, especially from last week, as we talked about that, or the week before, that assignment of writing down, your goals, writing down the committed activity, which is the goal, not the outcome-based goal that you can't control, not the result, but the committed goal, which is the activity that you're going to commit yourself to. That is the goal. Okay. You wrote down those things. But this time of year, this is when most people start to kind of, all right, I'm setting my New Year's resolutions, I'm setting my goals for the new year. Hopefully you guys have already started to do that. But most importantly, something that I think is really overlooked is taking the time to review and reflect and audit yourself. Okay. Audit yourself. It's so important that you take the time to really dig into you. And today I'm going to give you guys an analogy, and I'm going to give you a quick little story, just very, very quickly. But I'm going to give you an analogy that relates to you and your business and your life and how you see things. Okay. So you guys remember, maybe all of you, many of us, growing up, we rode the bus to school. I rode the bus every day, pretty much. Elementary school, middle school, high school, to and from. I rode the bus. I didn't get to really drive until my senior year of high school. My mom and dad didn't take me to school. None of that. I rode the bus. Okay. But the reason why I bring up the bus when we were on it during, those times is, I want to talk about what made the bus so much fun. And not just fun, but you'll get my point in a second. But what made the bus ride so much fun? It was the energy. I'm thinking about right now how the bus rides were for me in elementary school, middle school. I was a loner in high school. I didn't really talk to anybody. I was just kind of really kept to myself. But elementary school, it was lit. Middle school, it was popping. Like, I was so excited to get on the bus because I knew exactly who was going to be on the bus, where we were seated, like what the conversations were going to be about. Like, I was ready. And some of you guys are thinking about that right now. You were like, yep, the bus ride was lit. That was the place to be. Or maybe you're like, no, Abby, I couldn't wait to get off the bus. I didn't even want to be on the bus in the first place. Whatever. You just weren't on the right bus. You didn't have the right people sitting next to you. I know I did. I know as I started to graduate myself from first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, like, I was moving myself to the back of the bus. And that was like the place. And then middle school, same thing. I didn't really know anybody in my sixth grade year, but I started to make some friends and I got myself to the back of the bus. And I knew as I got on the bus, I was walking down the aisle, I knew exactly where, like, the seating area that I was going to sit, who I was going to sit next to. It's pretty much like the same two people every time I was going to be sitting next to. Or sometimes if the bus wasn't that crowded, I was sitting next to nobody. I got a whole seat to myself. Anyways, there's this long drawn out story that I'm telling you. It has a purpose. Okay. What made the bus so fun is the energy. Okay. Is the energy. It was so important that I knew where I was sitting on the bus, who was sitting next to me, and not only what made it so much fun, but I'm going to apply this to business right now. I'm going to apply this to your life, to yourself, is what makes the team so great, what makes the organization, the business so great and effective is the energy. The energy. So I'm going to give you guys 5 points on this call, and I promise you, the way that I was describing that bus story, it's gonna have a point as I break these down. So don't judge me on my detail, okay? Or my childhood excitement. So number 1, bring great energy. Okay, bring great energy. Great leaders bring great energy. You have got to get this down. And that's why I say, turn your cameras on. I'm going to put this out there right now because I have this tendency to turn my camera on when I feel like it and turn my camera off when I don't feel like it. Okay, on calls. I'm just being very transparent with you guys. It's not even a resolution. It's just, this is a committed activity, which is a goal of mine, to, in the new year, any call that I jump on, when I know I absolutely can, like, no ifs, ands, or buts. The only time I really don't turn my camera on is if I'm driving. Okay. Because it's just distracting. I don't like to have my camera on when I'm driving, but that's the only time. Any other time I have my camera on. And I know if I'm on a call and I'm out and about, like with family or whatever, like, I'm not even focused. I'm not like, why am I on the call? So that is my goal for the new year, because I could commit to it, is to have my camera on. And this is why, because great leaders bring great energy. You have your camera on, I can see you. You have energy that other people can see you. You're visible. Okay. If one person has their camera on, you're more likely to have other people turn their cameras on. It's just a whole ripple effect on everything, on every plane that you do. Okay. Energy makes a place. Energy makes this call right now. And plus, you guys ever hear like artists or singers or whoever, they're like, I need to, or even like when you go to church, I'm preaching better than you're praising or whatever they say, right? It's like energy makes a place. You want the person that's maybe feeding you or giving you value or pouring into you or whatever it is to be at their best. Obviously, like I've come prepared regardless of the energy on the other side, but you can do your part by bringing great energy. If you don't have anything to bring, the value that you can bring to the table is your energy. The best thing that you can always bring is your energy. When in doubt, make sure you check your energy. Make sure you understand that if you said you wanted to be a leader, okay, and this isn't some title, this isn't some position. If you said you wanted to be a leader, you've got to check your energy. Chad Veach, a pastor I love to listen to and follow, he said, I am a spiritual leader, which means I wear that. I wear that proudly, but I also recognize that comes with great responsibility. I always need to be filling my cup. I always need to be ready. I always need to have a soft heart. Like I always need to have this excellent spirit because I understand who I said I wanted to be, who I am. I'm a spiritual leader. And so I always need to be ready and present with that. These are conversations that maybe we don't have alone with ourselves, but I'm here to give you that reminder that you've got to have those conversations with yourself if you want to be a leader and you're going to live up to that. Okay. So that is number one. Point number one is you've got to bring great energy. I knew when I got on the bus, part of the fun of the bus with our bus was I did bring great energy. I was always like excited and I was ready to have fun. I was ready to make jokes. If you guys know me and you really have been around, like I like to make jokes and they're kind of dumb, but they're funny because everybody's laughing. They're not even like funny. Like they're not clever. They're not clever at all. It's just dumb. Okay. So the best thing that you can do is always bring your energy. And I'm not saying bring dumb jokes to the call, but you get my point. Cool. Number two, do not carry other people's energy. Don't carry other people's energy. These are things that you have probably already heard, and we probably already quote unquote know that. But why do we continue to carry the energy and the weight of the world of other people? Okay. As leaders, this is why. Okay. As leaders, we have empathy and we tend to lean into other people's energy. Okay. This is what makes us great leaders because we're relatable. Okay. We have relatability. We're compassionate. We have compassion for other people. And we know when they're down, when they're at their low, when they're at their floor, but we also have the security and the confidence to celebrate other people when they're winning, when they're at their highs. Okay. That's the greatness of what we can become as leaders. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're like Abby, like, I can have compassion for people, but I'm just not secure enough yet to celebrate with others. Or maybe you're the opposite. You're like, I want to see everybody win, but man, like, hearing other people's problems, it's just so draining. And I just can't even relate to that right now. Like the dichotomy of being a leader is being able to do both in a way. However, this is the lie of leadership, is thinking that you have to carry the weight of the world, okay? Carry the world's problems, carry your team's problems on your back, on your shoulders. That's the lie of leadership. I used to think that I was Miss Independent, invincible, like I can do all these things, which you guys need to go look up. Upset the Gram. He put out a video that was just phenomenal, and he talked about Philippians 4:13, through Christ who strengthens me, whatever the verse is in the Bible. He talks about how that's not about I can do anything in all things because Christ strengthens me. It's what he's saying. There's so much out of context of this, but what he's saying is I can be content in all things. I can be content in every circumstance, every situation, no matter what. because I have Christ who strengthens me. Okay. And that was super important because I used to think I was this invincible person who could do anything and I could take on the world. And I cannot. I have limitations. I am a human being and I had to own up to that. Okay. This is the lie of leadership. I'm not strong enough to carry my stuff and your stuff. I don't want to be somebody that puts out the fires all the time, all day, every day. That's not leadership in my book and the books that I've been reading and the people I've been listening to who are principally driven, who are biblically driven, who have the values and the foundation that I want to live my life upon. I don't want to be here putting out people's fires. I can have empathy. I can lean in with you. I can have compassion. I can relate to you, but I can also have the security and the confidence to celebrate when you are winning and maybe I'm not, but I don't need to carry the weight of the world. I don't need to do that. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to walk this through real quick. But if you don't choose your influences, they will choose you. If you don't choose who you're hanging around, what you're tolerating, what you're allowing into your sphere of influence, I promise you the influences will choose you if you don't be selective and careful about what you're choosing to allow and enter into your life. Okay. We can't and we don't need to carry the world's problems to be a great leader. Write that down. We cannot and do not need to carry the world's problems to be a great leader. I thought I always had to be that person that was putting out all the fires. Okay. There is a time and a place to be there for somebody. But if you notice that you're hanging around people, maybe it's on the team. Okay. And if it's getting too much, just come, bring it up. Never I don't ever commonly talk about things cross line to cross line or, down. When I say down, I mean, I'm just looking at the business structure. Okay. But I always go up. If I have a problem, I always go up. I seek Mike Sotero. I seek Christian Jukes. Okay. If you guys have that, seek up. Okay. Go up. But if you have somebody that you notice the relationship with them, there's a common theme in the conversation, everything that comes out of their mouth is a problem. Everything that comes out of their mouth is doubt, is panic, is worry. I can't have you around me for very long. I know myself and you guys should start to know yourself too. And I embrace your limitations, embrace your weaknesses, give it a God. That's what I've been trying to do. I know I have those. And I know that if I'm in the influence of the wrong people, I'm going to be led down the wrong road. Especially if somebody who's negative has high conviction in what they're saying. I know I used to be that person that was swayed left to right from what other people said. And that's also because I wasn't principally driven. That's also because I didn't have the right foundation. Okay. Let me give you an example. It's like when you get on that bus, some of you guys are like, I've never ridden a bus before. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. It's like when you get on the bus and you're walking down the aisle, you're going to choose who you're going to sit next to. You're going to choose which seat you're sitting in. And you've got to be really careful because the person that you're sitting next to, their energy will get on you, whether it's get energy or it's just going to deplete you. It's going to drain you. It's going to make you feel a certain type of way. Okay. It's always really important to obviously guard your heart and protect your energy. But sometimes if you don't know how to manage yourself very well, you're going to let all these influences influence you. Okay. So that's number 2. Do not carry other people's energy. You don't need to carry the weight of the world to be a great leader. You just need to be there and have empathy, but also recognize, hey, this is red flag. The same person that I'm working with or I'm talking to literally only comes to me with their problems. That's a big no. Okay. You can't have that. And if you don't know how to have that conversation, come to me. I'll help. I'll guide. Okay. I'll help you. Number 3, let's keep it moving. Number 3, it doesn't matter where the bus is going, but who is on the bus. Okay. It doesn't matter where the bus is going, but who is on the bus. Okay. Same thing. It doesn't matter the business. Okay. Obviously, I believe we have one of the best business models ever. Network marketing combined with skill sets that you can learn and put your money to work. Just mind-blowing business model. But it does matter who's on the bus. It does matter who's with you. Okay. And this all ties back to our energy and managing ourselves. Okay. And also other people, not managing other people, but managing who you allow into your life. So number one, write this down for number three. So it's like bullet point. If the bus is going to go anywhere great and effective, we've got to make sure the right people are on the bus. Okay. If we're going to go anywhere great and effective, we have to make sure the right people are on the bus. Period. End of story. Who we allow on the bus is you're speaking without speaking based on who you allow on your team, based on who you allow in certain environments, based on who you allow doing certain things. Okay. You're literally setting the standard. You are setting the tone. You are telling people what you tolerate when you do certain things, or who you hang around, or what you do. Okay. You are telling people your standards. We cannot allow the wrong people on the bus. That's number two. And then the second thing I want you guys to write down, the third thing, whatever, the next bullet point is who I am is more important than what I do. Who I am is more important than what I do. And who I'm working with matters more than what we're doing together. Okay. Who I'm working with matters more than what we're doing together. Okay. It's about who is with us more than what can we accomplish, what we're accomplishing. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times leaders and people are so results driven that they're choosing results over choosing relationships. I always had this torn feeling in my heart when I was focused so much on results. And then because of that, I wasn't really getting the results I wanted anyways, because I wasn't focusing on the right things. Do you know that concept, be, do, have? A lot of people are looking at it in the reverse. In order for me to have this, I got to do this, and then I'll become that. Well, that's obviously not how we do this. You got to become the person. When you become the person, you're going to think the right way so that you can do the right actions to create the results that you want. And so if I'm choosing the right relationships, I'm choosing the right influences in my life, I'm choosing to be around the right people, okay, and I'm managing myself well, the results are going to be inevitable. But if we don't get real about some of these things, we're always going to have the wrong influences in our life, and we're never going to really be able to move ahead in the things that we want to create for ourselves. Okay. So that's number three. It doesn't matter where the bus, aka your business, your team, your organization, yourself is going, but who is on the bus, who's doing life with you, who's around you. Okay. Number four, it's not about time management as much as it is on how well you manage your energy. And I wouldn't even want to say time management, because time management actually isn't really a thing. Time management isn't really a thing. It's more about energy. How are you managing, aka yourself? That's energy. It's just, that's your spirit. How well do you carry your spirit? Okay. So you can be this is important so that you can be effective while you're doing your work, while you're doing the things that you know that you need to do. And this is my point here is we have, our committed activities, which is our goals that we set out for ourselves, our non-negotiables, our daily methods of operations that we do every day, our DMOs, our IPAs, whatever. Okay. But why does it take us sometimes 5 hours to do what we were supposed to do when you probably could have done it in an hour, 45 minutes? And I'm not saying you're sitting at your computer for 5 hours trying to finish it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe you were supposed to start it at this time and you didn't even do it or finish it till, this big gap of time later. And it's not because you had a busy day. It was because we got distracted. We were scrolling, we put it off. We had this, happen, and we made that a priority. And that's why I choose to do everything that I got to do pretty much in the morning, because I know at the end of my day, I don't want to do anything. You got to know yourself. Don't try to play I'm invincible and I can do this and that. I know at the end of my day, I don't want to do anything. I just, that's most people. So for you, you've got to recognize and act accordingly. What goals, committed activities can you do in the morning per se, and literally write out how long it's supposed to take you to do that activity. I have this journal, and I literally write next to it. I know you guys can't see this, but I literally write next to each thing I do every day, how long it's supposed to take me to do that. Like, I know all the things that I do every day, I can literally be done within 3.5 hours. Every little non-negotiable that I have set for myself, from making content to following up to prospecting to making a Facebook page in the Digital Academy to working out to reading my Bible to listening to that audio, like all of those things, I know exactly to a T how long it should take me to do those things. Okay. And as I get better, I know that maybe my time will fluctuate. I'll be able to do it in less time per se. But I know if I get all those things done, it'll take me about 3.5 hours. So why is it taking me 6? Why is it taking me 7? Why is it taking me all day? I don't know. I'm probably not managing my time very well. And that's something you have to get real about with yourself. Okay. It's not about time management. It's not even a thing. Okay. It's not like you cannot manage time, but you can manage your energy. You can manage yourself. Okay. So that you can be more effective while you're doing your work. And the other thing too is rest. And I don't want to mistake rest for something like, let me just take naps all day. I heard somebody say the other day, he was like, yeah, I rested today. I really needed it. I took 5 naps and I binge watched, Netflix. That's not resting. That's called being lazy. That's called I'm not committed to my goals. That's misunderstanding what the word rest means. Okay. Rest is a daily thing. I also take time to rest on Sundays, meaning I'm digging into the word a little bit more. I'm with God. Maybe a little bit longer than I am on a day-to-day basis. Like, I'm actually taking a sectioned out time to be present with God in my room alone by myself. But every day I am resting, meaning I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. By the way, I heard a study, females actually need a little bit more sleep than men because of our hormones and all these other things. Chemically, I'm not going to get into the details, but I make sure I get my 7 to 8 hours of sleep on a nightly basis, because I know if I'm fatigued, which if you are fatigued, you are not as courageous. You do not make sound choices. You do not make decisions that are going to be promoted in your best favor. So I know I need to make sure I am well rested. I get to bed at 9:15, 9:30 every night because I get up at 5 a.m. Okay. You got to know yourself. This year, if you don't know these things about you, you've got, like, after this call, no, like, New Year's Eve is postponed until you get this stuff done, because tomorrow when it hits and God knows where you're going to be, you got to know these things about yourself. Okay. But you got to make a plan and committed goal activity to learn this about yourself. Okay. I cannot afford to give away more than I have on an energetic level. Okay. My outtake cannot be more than my intake. I cannot afford to give away more than I have. My outtake cannot be more than my intake. Trust me, I give and I give and I give, but I always make sure my cup is being filled. I'm refueling and refilling my well. I'm always making sure that Abby is good on an energetic level, because I know when I'm not, you will know as well. The team will know as well. When I'm not up to speed, when I'm not at my peak, when I'm not at my best on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, when I'm not carrying that excellent spirit, okay, when my character is out of line, when I'm fatigued, you guys will know. And as you start to actually build a team and you have people that lean on you and look to you and seek you for guidance, because that's what leaders are. We point, guide, and direct. I'm not your firefighter. I can be, they used to say a counselor and things like that. I am not. I don't want to take on that role. I mean, I can be, but you don't need to be a great leader. Okay. You point, guide, and direct people. You can coach them, but most importantly, you can give them the truth and what they need to hear. Okay. So I'm always refilling my well. I'm always finding ways to personally develop myself and apply that. Okay. Oftentimes we can get so overwhelmed because we just don't have the margin to rest. We haven't given ourselves the opportunity to actually rest. And so we're making those missed calls, those misjudgments. Okay. And when I say margin to rest, that margin error is coming from the fact that we're probably just distracted. We're probably scrolling too much. We're probably spending too much time on things that are not a priority. Okay. Because when you're rested, you can show up at your most optimum level spiritually and energetically. Okay. Last one, number 5. Are y'all ready? Hopefully you guys are getting some value from this call. Number 5 is guard your spirit from the wrong things. Okay. Guard your spirit from the wrong things. I've seen negative people destroy great people. I've seen bad company corrupt, good character. I've seen toxic, cancerous people destroy awesome, excellent hearted, spirited people. Okay. You got to guard your spirit from the wrong things. And this kind of has a play on words from everything we talked about, but just a couple points here. You've got to be, as I talked about earlier, you've got to be principally driven. Okay. You've got to be a principally driven person. You've got to live your life by a set of principles. Otherwise, you're going to be swayed from one side to the next side. Somebody that you maybe think is smart and says nice things, and they say something that's really convicting, you're going to believe them and you're going to want to think like they think. And maybe the way that they think is not led down the principle that you should be led by. And so I'm very cognizant of that now. I used to be that person, and I remember this. I would say this. I don't know, Al, if you remember me saying, like, I always felt like I would just be swayed by what other people are saying so easily, and I didn't really have any foundation on my life. And it really wasn't until this year when I encountered God for the first time in the way that I did, and I actually made Jesus Christ real in my life. I didn't understand what it meant to really stand up and like really have something that you believe in and you found your life on. Like you live your life on. Like, I am grounded and planted in God's word. Like, that is the principles that I live by. And I cannot afford or allow those that don't live by the same principles as me to influence me greatly. I didn't say, like, I love people. I'm not gonna, bash anybody for not thinking or believing in the same way that I do or having the same values as I do. I'm just not gonna let them influence me. It's kind of the whole saying, be mindful of who you listen to. I'm just not gonna let them influence me to the degree where I can, start to change and alter my principles and my values and what I live by. Okay. Because when it comes to where I'm going, those people aren't going where I'm going. I can have respect for where they're coming from. I can appreciate and value them as a person, but I have to draw a line in the sand. I can't afford or allow those that don't live by the same principles as me to get in my ear to the point where they're moving me in ways that maybe aren't aligned with, my heart and what I'm being guided by. Okay. I need to have the right people with me. I need to have the right people around me. And I need to be able to draw a line in the sand, and I can't tolerate anything less. And you got to be able to do that for yourself as well, especially if you want to elevate yourself going into the new year. You need to draw that line in the sand. Okay. Alrighty. So guys, those are my 5 points. I want to just say this real quick. Just kind of going into this new year, this kind of can play off of all of this as well, but just some points that I want to share with you, some reminders that you can embrace and get real about with yourself. Okay. Great leaders, as we've talked about, great leaders are great starters and they're great feeders. Write that down. Great leaders are great starters and they're great feeders. Okay. You know that you're working with the wrong people when you're constantly having to ignite them into action. And even pointing the finger back at yourself, you know that you have some work to do if you're not a great starter. If somebody gives you a task, okay, and you don't act on it, or you're not hungry to go figure out why you're not good at prospecting, or why you're not good at following up, or why you're not XYZ, okay? I'm just keeping it real, okay? Great leaders are great starters and they're great feeders. What does that mean? You know how to lead yourself, great starter. You know how to lead yourself. You know how to self-coach yourself. You know how to self-motivate yourself, okay? And you know how to feed yourself. You know how to give yourself what you need to fill up your well. You know how to give yourself what you need to get yourself back to, being at your optimum, having that, carrying and having that excellent spirit, okay? These calls, I don't have to give you pep talks. You're resourceful, you're proactive, you're learning on your own. You have a plan in action. You have your goals, the committed activity. Trust me, the result will come if you just be, do, have, you get that right. Okay, you're learning on your own. You're digging into what you, into where you need to get better, and you're not afraid to ask for help. You've got your own wells that you're drawing from because you know how to, do that for yourself. Okay, yes, I seek counsel. Yes, I seek guidance, but I know how to create my own well for myself. Okay, these calls should not be a source of motivation. They can be, but this should not be a motivation call. This should not be, oh, like I'm inspired, yay, I feel good, let's go. We need to be taking action from these calls and applying that into our life. You could take, we talked about a lot today, but you could take a couple things from this call, look through your notes, like being intentional. Great leaders are very intentional, and you can take from these calls, right? Two things that was like, bam, like that was it. That I needed that. I need to go and find out a way of how to involve myself in that. Whatever that was that Abby said, whatever I pulled from that call, I need to go out and apply that. And you can do that for every call, okay? But I want to say this real quick, and I'm going to give you your assignment. Hopefully you did the one from last week, just writing out your goals. I hope you did that. These are goals that you can commit to. Okay, activity-based goals, those are non-negotiables. And when you write them down, write down how long it takes you to do it, and then go set a timer for it. I go boom, boom, boom. And I don't want to fall into the trap of like, I'm just going through the motion, but I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to wake up, and I don't want to have to think about if I'm going to shower first or not. Okay, I want to think about, I'm gonna go to the gym. That's what I do first. That's what I do first. I go to the gym, and then I read my Bible, and then I get on Go Live. I mark my charts. I look for trades, and then I post on my social media story. Like, those are just things that I know. Okay, you got to know that. So write this down. Average players want to be left alone. Good players want to be coached. Average players want to be left alone. Good players want to be coached. Great players want to be told the truth. I think for a long time, I wanted to be left alone. I know it sounds really weird to say out loud. Like, it just was really weird for me to say that out loud. But for a long time, I didn't want to talk to my mentors. I didn't want Mike to get my inbox. I didn't want Mike to ask me how's business going. I didn't want Mike to, want to jump on a call with me. I wanted to be left alone. I didn't want to be mentored. I wanted to do it my way. I wanted to just, hopefully figure things out, wishful thinking. And I definitely didn't want to be told the truth. Okay. I was being an average player at that time. Okay. Good players, you want to be coached. Okay. You don't, you want to be told, maybe what to do, but you don't want to, like, you're not really, like, you're surface level. You're not really digging into, the things that are probably going to be painful, that are probably going to open a wound. You just want to be told what to do, and that's cool. Okay. But great players, you know who you are. And maybe if you want to be a great player and you're just not being that way right now, which I've been there. Okay. You want to be told the truth. You don't want any fluff, any of that. You want the real. Okay. And the thing I want you guys to leave this call with is a couple questions. Okay. You told yourself, look, reflecting back, super important that you do a self audit on yourself, a review and a reflection. You said maybe you wanted to be that leader this year. You wanted to have a real business this year. Okay. Team of 6, team of 10, team of 20, team of whatever. Okay. Team of 30. You said you wanted a business. You said you wanted a residual income. Okay. And you're probably saying that you want those things in the new year, which is great. Let's go. That's probably why, you're on this call right now, because you want those things. But I want you to ask yourself, if you said you wanted those things from this last year, okay, ask yourself, what does that look like right now? What's the have, the be, do, have? What's the have? What does that look like right now? Are you that leader that you said you wanted to be? Do you have that business that you said you wanted? Do you have the residual income that you said you wanted? Okay. And if the answer is yes or no, you said you wanted those things, I want you to ask yourself, what proof do you have that shows you that you are who you said you are? That shows you that you are what you said you wanted. Okay. What proof do you have? This is all I love this concept, because you can't lie to yourself. If you dig down a little bit, you can't lie to yourself. You said you wanted these things. Okay. What proof do you have that shows you that you actually said that you actually, oh my gosh, that you actually are what you said you wanted to be? What proof do you have? Okay. Super important. So last thing, I'm going to leave you guys and we're going to dive out of here. We're going to kick off the year. We're going to run into it strong. Growth is like, it's another great analogy. Don't mind me on my analogies, but this is good. Growth is like a bow and arrow. Okay. If you're working with somebody, if you're working with a mentor, as a leader, our job is to prepare you. Okay. Our job is to prepare you and to get you ready for the things that you're going to experience, at that next level. Okay. Our job is to prepare you and to get you ready for the things that you're going to inevitably go through, that you're going to experience. And before you get shot out into the world, it's going to feel like you're getting pulled back. And going back to what I was saying earlier, those moments where it is subtle and you don't feel like doing it. I had the moment last night where I was getting some stuff together, and I just didn't want to do it. I was like, Abby, this is that moment that you're gonna, that you heard from the other day. I heard this analogy the other day. I was like, this is that moment. Like, this is that growth moment right now for you, where you could throw in the towel and go to bed, or you could finish this up like you said you were gonna do, and keep it pushing. So you got to ask yourself that, but also recognize that's what the journey is going to look like. Like, as you're going through those setbacks, as you're going through those things that are uncomfortable, most importantly, uncomfortable and inconvenient, it's going to feel like you're being pulled back. Okay. But I don't know when your slingshot's going to go. I don't know when it's going to be that next level up for you. Only you can do the things that are going to prepare you and get you ready. And that's doing the hard stuff. That's doing the things that you don't want to do. That's mapping out your day to day. That's writing out how long is it going to take you to do something. It takes me 15 to 20 minutes to prospect 15 to 20 people. I know that. Maybe you're not there yet. You got to build up to that. You got to get better. Okay. So I'm going to have a great year because I have a great day. Preparation, your time, your energy, your money, they all work in very similar ways. If you don't tell it where to go, it's going to go wherever it wants. If you don't assign your time, it's going to be assigned for you. If you don't guard your heart, if you don't guard your energy, somebody else is going to overtake it. Okay. If you don't budget and plan your money, I promise you, it's going to go wherever it wants. You've got to be intentional and understand your motives for when you do certain things. Okay. So leaving this call, guys, ask yourself those questions of what you want it to be this year, what type of growth you want to experience, what type of goals you wanted to accomplish. And then ask yourself, write it all out and be real. And then ask yourself, what proof did I give myself to show that I really wanted that? And if it's not the proof that you're looking for, if it's not much proof, you know what you got to work on this year to get to that point. So guys, I love you. I appreciate you. We had a great year this year, regardless of what you think up in here, you're here. You are still here on this call, the last day of the year. I know your hearts. I know you want to be better. I know your hunger, but it's time to show it. It's time to get real. It's time to document this stuff. And it's time to go out and just really show yourself who you can be. Okay. And get rooted. So I love you guys. Have a safe night. Be healthy, be well. And I will talk with y'all later. Peace.